My goal is not to speak perfect English. My goal is to communicate effectively. Welcome to the explainer. Just take a second and let that quote sink in. It completely flips the script on what it means to be a successful communicator, doesn't it? We're so often conditioned to aim for absolute perfection, but honestly, it's really all about connection. Today, we're digging into some really fascinating source material, the actual daily practice journal of a restaurant operations manager. And the big theme we're unpacking is exactly why simple English builds confidence. It turns out, when you strip away all that unnecessary complexity, you actually remove the fear of making mistakes. And that right there, that's what makes you a stronger, way more effective leader. So before we dive into this manager's routine, I want you to ask yourself, do you really need complicated English to be a great leader? I mean, think about the leaders you look up to the most. Are they throwing around giant, confusing words? Or are they just making things super easy to understand? Keep that in the back of your mind, because the answer we're uncovering today might literally change how you handle your own daily hurdles at work. Section 1, the chaos of communication, managing the unpredictable. Let's get into it. So our author operates in the incredibly high-stakes, million-miles-an-hour world of restaurant management. Picture this. You're running a shift, and you're having to constantly adapt to wildly different people. Team members, customers, vendors, senior management, all at the exact same time. And suddenly, boom, you're hit with unhappy customers complaining about their food, right as you realize half your floor staff just called in sick. It is an instant, massive headache. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Right in the dead center of the lunch rush, your vendors call. Crucial ingredients? Out of stock. That essential delivery? Totally delayed. And to top the whole shebang off, you glance at the system and see that sales are completely missing the mark. You just know upper management is going to be breathing down your neck. Talk about a perfect storm for panic, right? In this kind of pure chaos, it's so easy for your confidence to just completely drain away. And that is exactly when communication tends to break down. Which brings us to Section 2, leading through listening. The calm in the storm. Now, what's super fascinating here is how our manager totally avoids panicking when things go sideways. Instead, they rely on a really simple 3-step mental framework. Step 1, truly understand what happened. Step 2, find the actual root reason. And Step 3, discuss a solution. So, dealing with a food complaint, for example, isn't some big argument. It's just a methodical process of listening, checking for errors, and collaborating on a fix. Having that simple framework to fall back on, it instantly builds your confidence. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that every single complaint is actually an opportunity to improve. It completely redefines what leadership looks like. A good manager isn't just someone standing there barking out instructions. No, they're someone who listens, who understands, and who guides and supports their team. It shifts the entire focus from just dictating orders to fostering genuine understanding. Think about the stark contrast in communication styles when things get stressful. When everyone is tired and on edge, snapping with a negative reaction like "you always make mistakes," well, that just makes everyone defensive. But using a simple professional correction like "let's understand what went wrong and make sure we don't repeat the same mistake" totally changes the vibe and makes the team feel supported. Keeping the English simple diffuses all that tension and keeps everyone perfectly aligned. Section 3. The power of simple English. Clarity over complexity. Okay, this was a massive light bulb moment in the journal for me. You absolutely do not need a complicated, high-level vocabulary to command a room, even when you're talking to senior management. Using clear, punchy sentences like, "I have one suggestion," or "the main problem is this," leaves literally zero room for confusion. And this is exactly why simple English builds confidence. You completely remove the anxiety of accidentally using the wrong big word, and you know for a fact that you are being fully understood. And a huge part of that confidence is knowing exactly how to handle those awkward moments when you just miss a detail. Listen, there is absolutely nothing weak about asking for clarification. In fact, our source highly encourages leaning on totally normal, basic phrases like, "Could you please repeat that?" or "Could you explain that again?" Truly confident leaders are never afraid to just hit pause and ask for clarity. The author also points out a trap we all fall into, speaking way too quickly. Rushing almost always leads to fumbling your words and making mistakes. The real secret? Just slow down, speak slowly, pronounce clearly, and just take your time. When you stick to simple English and pace yourself, you drastically lower your own cognitive load. You're giving your brain the breathing room it needs to communicate without stumbling, which naturally shoots your confidence right through the roof. Moving on to Section 4, Confidence through daily practice, building the habit. So we've got the toolkit now, right? Simple English, careful listening, taking our time. But how do we actually lock this in and build a permanent habit? Well, the entire philosophy of this journal boils down to one number: 5. The manager's ultimate secret is dedicating just 5 minutes a day to speaking practice. That's it. Not some grueling hour-long study session, just 5 highly focused minutes. It really maps out the reality of how we build skills over time. Think about it. You started your daily practice yesterday. Today, you're already a little bit better. Tomorrow, better still. By consistently picking up new words, practicing out loud, and most importantly, giving yourself permission to make simple mistakes, those 5 daily minutes start to compound, like a snowball rolling down a hill. Eventually, one day, you just find yourself speaking naturally and confidently. The whole trick is just trusting the process. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. How will you use your 5 minutes today to completely change your communication for tomorrow? Remember, you don't need perfect, incredibly complicated English to be an amazing leader. You just need clear, simple English and the unshakable confidence that comes with it. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I really hope this helps you build your own communication confidence.